Normal people become terrified of criminals.
Shots were just fired. Police just came out and told us, and we're headed there right now.
They become terrified of their own government.
You've got a guy who's got higher name ID than almost anyone in the entire world. Someone who's by far the most famous conservative on the face of the planet. So explain to me then, like, when given all that, and oh, by the way, the majority of the party, because remember, you run in the party, then you run in the general, right? You have, it's one, then the other. It's not straight to general. So they keep making these weird general election arguments, which are completely baseless, by the way, that only Ron DeSantis can win the general, which there's just no evidence for.
Well, he can't win the general if he can't win the nomination.
But most, I'm not even going to say half, the majority of the party feels that Donald Trump actually won the 2020 election. They feel that January 6th was about protesting a stolen election, and they want Trump to go back and finish the job. That's a really easy sell for a political candidate. If you've got someone who's arguing against that, it just comes across as really self-centered. It comes across as really selfish. And quite frankly, it comes across as politically stupid because he could have gone, and I said this so many times behind the scenes, all you had to do was say, Donald Trump has unfinished business and I'm going to be supporting him in 2024. Then regardless of what happened in that election, all of MAGA would remember that DeSantis had stood by the man who put him in the governor's mansion of Florida. Instead of running this insane betrayal of a backstabbing, raising millions of dollars, laundering it through the Republican Governors Association, putting it then into the governor's race in Florida, which was a non-competitive race, taking those millions of dollars away from competitive races all around the country. Democrats win. Then they blame that on Donald Trump. Then he rolls that same money, which was supposed to go to gubernatorial candidates, into his own presidential campaign. This is where Never Back Down starts, because they roll that over into federal. You can't get it go 1-to-1, but they brought most of it over, the bulk of it. And then claims all the time that he's just on a national book tour and he's not really running for president.
That was weird. That really pissed me off too.
And so it's all the while, remember, you chose this. Okay, you all chose this. You could have sat back and been handed the baton, the mantle of MAGA as the heir apparent, and literally walked into the White House in 2028.
But obviously there was someone in his ear saying, you don't want to be tarnished with that brush, right? There was someone who talked him out of seeing Trump and the potential role as an heir apparent as a good thing.
Look, You can say that what you want, but at the end of the day, I mean, he's his own man.
But
right?
wouldn't that be what the implication was? Because they had a somewhat positive relationship at one point, and then it was like, well, you could run for president now and challenge Trump, or you could wait 4 years and do it then.
The thing that gets
someone had to convince him that the timing was right now. To me, it seems like the argument must have been, you don't want to be branded with the MAGA mantle. But what argument is that? Because we know the core of the Republican voters are MAGA. They do support Donald Trump.
The thing that gets me is that they don't recognize it as a betrayal. They think that it's just some sort of, it's just a free for all. And, so anyone can run for president and it's fine. Excuse me? You were a backbench congressman that nobody can, you don't even talk about your own accomplishments from when you were in the House because you don't have any. He was another guy at dinner when we were at Trump Tower or Trump Hotel in DC. And oh, by the way, that's right. You were eating dinner out of a building. On the front of it was the name of the man that gave you the ability, because you were going to run again for Senate against Marco Rubio, but then Marco said that he was going to come back in. So you cucked out of that and said, well, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And then, because you didn't want to run against little Marco. So then you said, all right, well, I've got this infrastructure statewide. Maybe I can roll that into a governor's race. So you went and did that, and you were about to lose to Adam Putnam. And then you came to Trump, and then you begged and begged and begged. And they say, I didn't do that. Yes, he did. He did. Yeah, he went and begged for the endorsement, and Trump was going to get behind Putnam because everybody thought that Putnam was going to be the guy. I was like, fine, we wanted a governor who could win. And remember, Florida was a 50-50 state back then. Andrew Gillum, right, the coke-addled sex fiend, came within.
That's right. That was a crazy story they found in the hotel room.
Came within just a few votes, like less than a percentage of becoming the governor of Florida. And if it was only for Donald Trump and only for the MAGA grassroots who went down there after the election using the slogan, and I'm just going to say it, Tim, I'm going to say it, hashtag stop the steal.
I thought you were going to say something else.
It's hashtag stop the steal to fight for Ron DeSantis. that put that over and won Broward County. And there's no recognition of any of that work. There's no recognition of those rallies. There's no recognition or even thanks for putting you there. It's, I'm going to run against you because I think I'm better. And now, yes, I'm sure there are people who, found some way to, use verbal judo to be able to say that it's not betrayal, but it is. And I'm sorry, it just is.
See, that makes me want to know who did it. Like, what part of the Republican donor class or what political operative was like, this is a great idea, we should do it. I wish that we could have a name, because that would be interesting to know who twisted one political career, because, Donald Trump has a lot to offer the country. He could only be president for 4 more years. Who is after
There is
him?
a darker potential read on that. Because, we were just talking about Kissinger, right? So who would want to talk someone into destroying their own political future by convincing them to do a political suicide run against the most famous conservative in a generation?
Somebody who wants the neo-libs and the neocons to regain power and
bingo,
push them all out.
Right. So you incite a MAGA civil war.
Yep.
Which is exactly what happens.
That is what happened, yeah.
You pit MAGA against each other. You split them down the middle. And to be fair, like I actually expected DeSantis to run like a real campaign. I have no
right?
idea.
He did not run a real campaign. It was so bizarre.
I mean, there are ways that you can drop bombs on Trump from the right, but they just never did. It never came. It was this weird like insinuation kind of thing. And then, they kind of started to now, but the attacks are like really weird and confusing and very like
and cringe.
Yeah, they said he had a foot fetish. Like,
right. That stuff is weird too.
Like,
it doesn't make any
this is
sense.
the opposite of meme magic. So
yeah.
So it's a great example.
Because they can't run against
of,
his policies.
It's a great example of, so you were talking about meme magic before, and by the way, there's a whole other theory I have, and maybe it's more of a third-hour theory, that the lockdowns in 2020 were actually designed to prevent meme magic from seeping back into reality. So meme magic was kept on lockdown. Because remember, right, all of
manifestation.
This, remember folks, never lose sight of the prize. We are in a time traveler chrono war with the globalists. That's what's really going on right now.
What do you mean?
Well, Steve Bannon.
Third hour.
Okay.
Steve Bannon is
Baron from the future.
That's right.
Who's been sent back to guide his father. There's a height differential with the time space continuum.
No, it's when you get older, you get shorter.
Exactly.
But Steve Bannon's actually pretty tall.
He's taller than average.
Yeah.
He's not 7'1".
I mean, I wouldn't
like
call
his
him
younger
tall.
form.
No, but I'm not saying like he's not like 5'6", 5'7".
No. But I mean, to be fair,
Barron's like 7 feet tall.
He's the man, but yeah, Barron is enormous. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Well, but
so to my point though is that we never get the Civil War. So the Civil War, it starts, but then it stops. They have these completely strange attacks on him. They go and make these absolutely boneheaded political decisions, like agreeing to debate a guy who's not even running for president.
Right. What's up with that? That's so weird.
Him, which only has upside for Newsom, right?
Mm-hmm. There's no upside for DeSantis.
There's no upside for DeSantis.
Because if he loses, he looks
downside.
really bad, and if he wins, like he's supposed to,
it doesn't matter.
He's supposed to, and he's
doesn't matter.
Somebody who's not running.
Yeah.
Right. Getting him to agree was all Newsom needed. So now suddenly Newsom's got people talking about him as a presidential candidate, which plays into his interests in the Democrat shadow primary that's going on right now, because they want Biden to drop out. They want him to do this. Jill won't let it happen because, I mean, man, it was rough, dude. You could see Biden looking at, like, giving the side eye to Jimmy Carter, right, at that funeral yesterday. And you could tell that he's looking at him going,
I also want to be in hospice. You're right.
Well, it's rough knowing that that's what's right around the corner. You know what I mean? Like it's rough seeing it and being confronted with, because deep down he knows, right? He knows that's.
Well, he's got the dementia shuffle going on.
Folks, he's not getting better, right?
What did he say? Trump was a congressman.
It's earlier today.
Yeah, he said something like Trump was a congressman.
His Christmas tree fell over. It's a sign that everyone thinks he can't make it, incling the universe.
There were even reports early on after
don't blame the Christmas tree though.
After October 7th,
it's a symbol of his administration. It's not great.
That Biden was confusing Hamas and Russia and like the Israel-Ukraine situations.
He's tired.
Confusing Ukraine and Iraq for years.
Ukraine, Iraq. Yeah,
it's hard to keep these things straight, especially when you can't remember anything
on what was going on, because he would say, "Well, why would Putin do that?" And they're like, "Putin didn't invade Israel. Like, how would he do that?
Come on, man, we got to bomb
all these other countries in the way." And it's just bad. It's just so bad. But the one thing that's sad to me is that I look at the Republican Party and you look at a guy like Ron DeSantis, who at one point, what I think everyone considered to be just a rising star, someone who had an incredibly bright future. And then you look at these guys, like I said before, like Lil Marco, like Scott Walker, Tim Ryan, Tim Pawlenty, T-Paw. Anyone remember T-Paw? You guys wouldn't even know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah,
There
I
were
forgot
all
about
these
him.
young guns out there who were going to be like the next heir apparent to the party that are just complete nobodies now. And it's like, good job, dude. Like, you decided to troll yourself.
But
into
this
irrelevance.
was a conversation I kept hearing from a lot of people. I think I remember Ben Shapiro saying it in particular, like, with DeSantis, they said either you run now or you lose your moment. You don't know that the momentum will be there in 4 years. And I think that tactic scares a lot of people into bad position.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.